Straight ahead on IU NewsNet, how can Bloomington effectively put out fires with a firefighter shortage? We'll tell you why there's a problem and what can be done to fix it.
And will the U.S. government ban TikTok? We'll tell you why Congress is concerned and what IU students think about the potential change. And a dog breeding operation busted. We'll show you how donations are already piling up for the new arrivals at the shelter. IU NewsNet starts now. Welcome to IU NewsNet. I'm Evan Kamikow. And I'm Carly Rasmussen. Bloomington is losing firefighters to jobs that pay more money. It's leading to longer response times and increasing worries about public safety. IU NewsNet's Liz DeSantis joins us with more. Liz.
Thanks, guys. Fire department union leaders are sounding the alarm over staffing shortages. In just the last 2 weeks alone, the department has lost 5 firefighters, most of them to higher paying departments like Indianapolis. Right now, the city only has about 80% of the firefighters that it needs, and more than 80% of those left are considering leaving, according to an anonymous union survey. Fire department union president says that the salaries just aren't competitive to get people to stay.
We keep falling behind, and so we go and help people every day. Like, it's no big deal. That's what we do. We love to do it. And now we're asking for help.
Mayor John Hamilton boosted pay by 3%, which is actually more than the contractually obligated 2% raise. But firefighters are saying they still feel undervalued. More than 25 departments in just a 60-mile radius are offering higher pay. So these firefighters don't have to go far to find a raise for themselves.
So Liz, these circumstances, they're not looking too good. What does this mean for the firefighters themselves?
Yeah, so basically these shortages have become so severe so quickly that firefighters are finding themselves in Bloomington having to work shifts of 4 to 5 days straight, meaning after a point of about 100 hours these firefighters have been working, there's a higher rate of fatigue, there's a higher rate of poor decision making, which means more accidents.
And especially in such a dangerous line of work, nobody really wants that. Thanks, Liz. A suspicious vehicle on the west side of Bloomington led Monroe County deputies to an unexpected find: bags of illegal drugs. In total, deputies found more than 100 Xanax tablets, fentanyl, and 23 grams of methamphetamine. They also discovered small amounts of MDMA, commonly known as Molly. Even prescription drugs like Xanax can be altered on the street to contain lethal amounts of fentanyl. They charged the driver of the vehicle with several felonies and arrested the passenger on 2 felony warrants.
Now to a potential ban on a social media app that has taken the world by storm. Nearly everyone has TikTok right here on their phones, but is the government about to wipe your app off the map? I talked to a cybersecurity expert to learn what Congress has so worried about TikTok.
I think TikTok changed my life. It changed my life.
A possible federal TikTok ban has many users nervous that they will be losing one of their favorite social media apps. TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance, which has our government concerned it's a portal right into your personal information. But for many younger people, this is not much of a concern.
Yeah, it's something that I worry about, but also it's not something that is on the forefront of my mind every time I go on TikTok.
But it's not just an app like TikTok that users need to worry about in regards to their privacy. It's every app. Research indicates that there are about 30 iOS apps that store clipboard data from iPhones. This can be everything from your passwords to a Google search, even if the apps are owned by American companies.
Problem is that we do not, as Americans, have rights to protect our data, right? And regardless of who owned it, that can still be exploited.
Millions upon millions of apps out there that are getting your information anyways. So just taking TikTok down isn't really going to make a difference. It's just going to make people upset and annoyed.
But those in search of private data may not even need to look that far.
If the Chinese government wanted data on Americans, particularly Americans in college, most of that data is readily available on the internet.
However, he says that it's TikTok's detailed algorithms that can be used to alter the user's reality.
because of TikTok.
That every single user is having an individualized experience on it, and that gives the ability of the people who are sort of behind the algorithms and behind the technology to craft your reality in a way that suits them.
The federal government and many states, including Indiana, have banned TikTok from government devices, meaning the clock on TikTok may be ticking.
In an attempt to avert a national ban, TikTok CEO told Congress yesterday that it poses no national security threat and that it is, quote, not an agent of China or any other country.
A House committee Tuesday approved Senate Bill 480. If signed into law, the bill would effectively ban gender-affirming care for transgender youth. The ban includes medicinal care as well as surgical procedures. There's been emotional testimony, including a moving speech from an Indiana mother with a transgender child. While healthcare providers have already testified that gender-affirming surgeries are not performed on minors in Indiana, there are many transgender youths that are currently prescribed puberty blockers and hormone therapy. The bill now moves to the House for a full vote.
You can no longer purchase emergency contraceptive pills at Walgreens drugstores in Indiana. Walgreens chose not to distribute them after getting a letter from 20 Republican attorney generals saying they consider the pills illegal. This includes Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita. The closest Walgreens to Bloomington is in Martinsville, roughly half an hour away, but as of this school year, students already have access to emergency contraceptive pills at the Student Health Center pharmacy free of charge.
When we come back, in the middle of the artificial intelligence boom, IU is putting together a team to use it and humanize it.
Plus, the DoorDash of packages will show you how 2 IU students are offering to save time and gas and get you your packages where you want them to go.
Welcome back to IU NewsNet. Bloomington Animals Care and Control seized nearly 70 dogs and puppies from an illegal breeding operation this past weekend. Donations are piling up at the BACC after they found 68 dogs, ranging from newborns to seniors. It all came after a tip from someone who had concerns about buying a puppy from the operation. The dogs have been relocated with the help of BPD and Monroe County Sheriff's Office, along with the Monroe and Brown County Humane Societies. The outreach coordinator said this level of large-scale hoarding is rare.
We do see a lot of backyard breeding and people who may have, 12 to 15 animals in their home, which is still a substantial amount. But when we're upper, in close to 70 animals, that is a very large number of animals.
The BACC and Monroe County Humane Society said they need to currently take donations like canned foods, blankets, and puppy pads.
Bloomington is suing the state of Indiana for the second time. It's about annexation, which affects Bloomington's size and tax base. Annexation is the process of bringing more land into city limits, and it's been controversial since it began in 2017. The state is fighting new efforts from the county to slow the annexation process. The county is using a 2019 law to void certain annexation areas, but the city argues that the more recent law should not be applied to current annexation efforts. The city previously won a lawsuit against the state in 2020, finding government efforts to prevent annexation unconstitutional. And while Bloomington works to expand land, artificial intelligence at IU expands as well. It's an initiative called Accelerating Imagination. The program is designed to make IU a leading resource on AI research worldwide. The goals include focusing on the ethical use of human-centered AI, providing a way for external partners to communicate with IU's researchers, and catalyzing projects. One example is called AI Goes Rural, which develops curricula in middle schools.
Next Thursday, the Indiana University Climate Action Planning Committee will host a public forum on what IU is doing to decrease its carbon footprint. This comes as the UN panel on climate change predicts a catastrophic warming by 2030. IU President Pamela Witt informed the committee last year following a number of environment-related protests on campus. The forum will outline IU's accomplishments and goals in regards to its own carbon footprint. The public is invited to take part in the forum at noon on Thursday, March 30th in the IU Auditorium foyer.
And 2 IU students have launched a startup that is like DoorDash, but for returning your packages. They'll make the run to the post office, UPS, or FedEx for you. IU NewsNet's Josh Bodie says the way it began is a story in itself.
2 IU students recently formed a new startup business named Return It. For Adrian Wilburn, the founder of the company, the inspiration was simple.
It was a problem that I had specifically, right? So I wanted to return something and I didn't have a car here at school. So it was just like honestly a hassle and I had to end up Ubering to the post office.
The business model is similar to DoorDash, but instead of deliveries, it's with returns. Customers can easily place their returns from the comfort of their own home.
The idea is you can file your return on our website and we'll be there in an hour. So, you know when we're gonna be there, you can file whenever you want.
They are already off to a quick start, partnering with 10th and College, an apartment complex in Bloomington.
They actually gave us permission to put our first drop box in 10th and College, so we currently have one there.
While Wilburn and Matt Vargas, the other IU student that works on the business, have built a strong chemistry working on Return It, they barely knew each other before starting the business.
We met during orientation our freshman year, right? So, and we honestly had never really spoken since orientation. But then I started posting about this Return It thing, and Matt actually hit me up on Instagram, which I was like, he's showing some initiative to like come start this thing.
So I just thought like I'd start by just helping him out a little bit, and then just like within the first week we were clicking.
Both Wilburn and Vargas are set to graduate after this semester. However, they want to continue working on Return It after graduation.
That's the plan. That's the ideal situation, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
I'm fully confident in that this is going to work. We just have to put in the work.
For IU NewsNet, I'm Josh Bodie.
The pricing strategy is simple. $5 if you don't require packaging and $6 if you do. The students will take part in a competition at the Kelly School next month where winning teams get up to $25,000. You can learn more about the business at returnit.me.
IU Dining is offering special meal accommodations to Muslim students fasting for the month of Ramadan. Students observing the holiday can order their pre-dawn meal suhoor and post-sunset meal iftar through April 21st. All meal options are halal with existing vegan and allergen-friendly options on a rotating menu. Students can order these options daily before 8 p.m. at dining.indiana.edu. Pickup locations include dining halls at Forest, McNutt, Wright, and the Memorial Union. When we come back, you might say a hurricane blew away IU's Sweet 16 chances. This one came from Miami. You'll hear from some of the coaches and players who are graduating soon.
And you know it's spring in Indiana when Little 500 qualifications come around. We'll have more on the weekend event next in sports. And now joining us in studio for this week's sports is Lucinda Larnach.
Lucinda, thank goodness basketball season's over after that weekend of games. But now it's time for the best time on campus, the Little 500.
Absolutely, it's going to be one hell of a month, but we do need to come back to basketball. So let's go back and talk about basketball. March came in like a lion and out like a lamb for Indiana basketball. In one of the most promising seasons in the years for both teams, the results were not what Mike Woodson and Terry Moran hoped for. Evan Kamikow has more.
Heartbreak in Assembly Hall. Kind of like a hurricane, the road is over for Indiana basketball. 24 hours apart, both the men's and women's team ended their season with losses to the Miami Hurricanes. For the women, it came down to the last possession.
We're disappointed. It stings, it hurts, but it should if you're competitors and it means anything to you, the way these kids work. Like I told them, if they didn't have tears and they weren't emotional, then I would wonder what all of the hard work was for.
For the men, the end of the road came in a blowout.
This one is tough to swallow because I truly believe that this team had a legitimate shot. As a coach, I put so much pressure and heat on myself to get teams over the hump, and I got to take some responsibility for this one.
Well, All-American Trace Jackson Davis finished his career out in Albany. Another Indiana standout senior, Grace Berger, finished her career exactly where it all began.
I loved being a Hoosier every single second of it. It was the best decision I've ever made. I love this program. I love this university. I love my coaches. I love my teammates. And it's sad that it's ending, but I'm just very grateful that it happened.
Just being part of the change, really. Just 2 years ago, we were getting booed in our home city, Indianapolis, off the court at the Big Ten tournament. It's really special to me to have the Indiana fans on your back and just cheering for you and giving them hope. Something that this program hasn't had in a while.
After the disappointing end to the season, both the men's team and women's team will have to wait till 2024 for their one shining moment.
On a brighter note, 2 Hoosiers are nominated for postseason awards. Trace Jackson-Davis was named a finalist for the Naismith Player of the Year trophy, and Terry Morin is a finalist for the Naismith Coach of the Year. With Little 500 less than a month away, this Saturday will determine which teams will hit the track and which will not. Qualifications is an all-day event that consists of every team one by one sending their racers around the track. Each racer of the 4-member team will compete 1 lap on the track before passing off the bike to their teammate. This year, alumni rider Emily Carrico has stepped in as race director and knows exactly what the riders are going through.
It's a big deal. The pressure is on, and when you're out there on the track and people are watching you and you see your teammate coming in, I mean, you feel that pressure when you're out there.
Teams have been training all year long, but only the top 33 men's and women's team will have the opportunity to compete in the Little 500. The softball team has seen only success this season, racking up a streak of 12 wins, the longest since 2019 after they played a pair of doubleheaders in Memphis. The team played the University of Memphis and Northwestern State University on both Friday and Saturday. The Northwestern game was close, but with strong pitching from sophomore Brianna Copeland in Friday's game and 3 home runs by freshman Taryn Kern. IU brought it back. Saturday's game solidified IU's winning streak, where they beat Memphis with Macy Montgomery pitching a complete game and Taylor Minnick getting a pair of RBI doubles. The team will host number 22 Maryland this weekend for a 3-game set. The IU men's wrestling team closes up its season after 4 of their athletes competed in the NCAA championships on St. Patrick's Day. The 4 wrestlers, senior Graham Brooks, Jacob Bullock, redshirt DJ Washington, and junior Derek Gilcher went down to Tulsa. IU proved strong with Gilcher and Bullock both winning 1-2 in their first round. Washington and Brooks managed to advance further, with Washington taking a 2-0 lead against Piccolo by the second round. Brooks beat number 4 Virginia Tech Caleb Henson, getting through to the 12th round. However, Brooks' scrimmage against Minnesota ended with a loss, eliminating him from achieving All-American status. The Hoosiers ended with a combined record of 6-2, wrapping up their season until next fall. Well, that's it, and I can't wait to see what we have in store for the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be really exciting. Spring sports finally here. Are you going to be at Little 500 qualifiers this weekend?
Oh, you bet I am. You guys?
Absolutely, I will be there.
I'm not sure yet. TBD, but how can I miss it? It's one of the great events here on campus. Thanks, Lucinda.
Thanks, guys.
And one more thing before we go. Last broadcast, we told you Kyle Schwarber, a former Indiana baseball player, was set to compete for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. The championship game was earlier this week, and Schwarber hit a long home run to cut USA's deficit to 1. But the Americans ultimately lost to Team Japan 3-2. Schwarber finished the tournament with 2 home runs.
That's it for IU NewsNet for now. We have a behind-the-scenes student production team in the control room and working in the studio with us for this broadcast. We thank them and we thank you for watching. I'm Carly Rasmussen.
And I'm Evan Kamikow. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IU NewsNet. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.